Hey guys, this is Mrs. Harbin, and this is Algebra 1, Section 1.2. Before the end of class, our objective is that you will use a number line and see more of God's order in math. So let's talk about the number line. The number line extends without limit in both directions. Our origin is the point at 0. That's the center of our number line. Positive numbers go to the right of the 0, and negative numbers are to the left of the 0. In case you've never seen a number line, it looks something like this. 0 at the center, with our positive numbers going to the right, and our negative numbers going to the left. Obviously, it would probably be straighter if I were drawing this with a ruler and not freehanding it on a slide. A point on the number line is called the graph of a number. It is named with a capital letter. The number associated with the point is called a coordinate. Numbers increase in value from left to right, with smaller numbers on the left and greater value numbers on the right. So taking a look at our number line, we have -3 and -5. -3 is farther to the right than -5, so -3 is greater. Looking at 2 and 4, here's 2 and here's 4. 2 is farther left than 4, so 2 is less than 4. Number lines can be divided into units of 1 or units greater or smaller than 1. Number lines can be drawn horizontally or vertically. If you take a look at our vertical number line, you'll see that each unit represents 1 integer. And our horizontal number line down below, you can see each unit is representing 10, a value of 10. Opposite numbers are numbers that are the same distance from 0, but are on opposite sides of 0. So 10 and -10 are opposite numbers. 20 and -20 are opposite numbers. Do you know the opposite of 30? It's not on the number line, but that's right, -30. Let's take a look at some examples. State the opposite of each number. Good job. 12 and -12. The opposite of -37 is 37, and the opposite of -4.7 is +4.7. Notice that we don't write positive signs in front of our 37 or our 4.7, even though they're both positive. That positive sign is implied. If we don't see a sign, we know that the digit is positive. What about pi over 2? What would be the opposite of that? -pi over 2. Great job. The absolute value of a number, denoted with an absolute value bars, and this x represents a number, is the number of units, or the distance between 0 and the numbers graph on a number line. Let's take a look at some examples. Find the absolute value of each. Absolute value of 4. How far away, or how many units away, or how distant away, how far away is 4 from 0? It is 4 units away, or distance of 4. So its absolute value is 4. What about -3? How far away is it from 0 on the number line? Yep, that is correct. It is 3 spots, or 3 units away. So its absolute value is also 3. Distances are never negative. Therefore, absolute values are never negative. Let's try to simplify these problems. The absolute value of 74 minus the absolute value of -24. Well, that just gets rewritten as 74 minus 24 once we find the absolute values, and then we can combine those two numbers and find out that our answer is 50. Try this one. 82 minus 31. The absolute value of 51, and the absolute value of 51 is 51. The length, denoted with this italicized L, of a segment of a line is the absolute value of the difference of the endpoint's coordinates. We're going to find the difference between the coordinates, and that will tell us the length of a segment. The formula is written this way. Length L equals the absolute value of B minus A. Let's find the distance between some points on our number line. What's the distance between 10, here it is, and 5 on the number line? Well, that one's fairly easy. We might be able to figure it out without a formula, but let's go ahead and plug it into the formula anyway. Length is the absolute value of B minus A. So our length is the absolute value of 10 minus 5. Length is absolute value of 5, and the length of the segment is just going to be 5. What about the absolute value of 8 and 2? Let's plug that into our formula and see if you can figure it out. If you came up with 6, then you are correct. Nice job. Let's find the distance between these 2 points, 3 and negative 4. Here's 3, here's negative 4. Now we could sit here and count how many units, but let's use the formula. Length is the absolute value of B minus A. Length is the absolute value of 3 minus negative 4. And these two negatives will become a positive, so that's 3 plus 4. The absolute value of this line segment, or the distance of this line segment, then is 7. Try this one on your own. Negative 2 and 7. What's the distance between these two? Use the formula and see if you can figure it out. If you got the length was 9, great job. We also have a formula to help us find the middle of a segment. We call this point the midpoint. The coordinate of the midpoint, which is denoted with an M, of a segment is the average of the endpoint's coordinates. So our formula is midpoint is A plus B divided by 2. Find the midpoint between these points. Halfway between, we want to know halfway between 3 and negative 5. First thing we're going to do is add the two midpoints. So 3 plus negative 5, and then we'll divide that by 2. 3 plus negative 5 is negative 2, and negative 2 divided by 2 is negative 1. So halfway between these two digits is right here at negative 1. Try this one on your own. What's the midpoint between negative 2 and 8? Pause the video, work it out, and then check your solution. If you ended up with 3, nice job. So today we graphed on a number line. We discussed absolute value and opposite numbers. And we discussed length formula. L equals the absolute value of B minus A, as well as the midpoint formula. Midpoint is A plus B divided by 2. Don't forget that graphing on a number line is really just marking the number or plotting a point on a number line. You saw me do that repeatedly when I marked where different digits were on the number line. Don't be confused by that term graph. You're just plotting the points on the number line. God truly is an awesome God, and His plans are far-reaching, even down to the system of numbers. We can see these details everywhere we look, and I challenge you to look for not only God's plan in math and His order in math, but in every area of your life. If you guys have any questions, be sure to ask me next class.